Hi guys, I'm Charlie, welcome back to Cine Channel, and today with Invincible Season 4 coming out just in a couple days on March 18th, I thought I would look back and review the first 3 seasons of Invincible. I just watched them for the first time at the start of March, and honestly I really love this show. So I'm just going to give you my thoughts, the good and the bad. I'm not going to be doing like a full plot deep dive or anything, just going to be going over my general thoughts for each season. Then once Season 4 comes out, I'll be reviewing that as it drops. I also checked out the Adam Eve special, just to mention it right now. I thought it was good, just providing more backstory on Samantha's character, how she got her powers and everything, and that whole other family that she had before the 2 parents she has now. So Adam Eve special, good. Check out the channel, subscribe, check out the TikTok and Instagram at Cine Channel. Without further ado, let's begin. Alright, so starting off with Season 1, we follow Mark Grayson, a young teenager learning he has powers. His dad is Viltrumite Omni-Man, but they live a normal life. And so with this first season, we just have Nolan Grayson, Omni-Man, Mark's father, teaching Mark how to become a superhero, managing his powers. And we follow Mark Grayson, learning and figuring out he even has powers. And there's just so many other characters and groups, like the Department of Security with Cecil, or the Guardians of the Globe, which are their version of the Avengers or Justice League. So with all that being said, starting off with the good, the characters, honestly, these characters are just really fun to follow. Mark Grayson himself, Omni-Man, is very interesting. We have side characters like Samantha Wilkins, Adam Eve, everyone involved with the Guardians of the Globe, my favorite being Rex. Even they make the mom such a likable character in this world of crazy awesome characters, where she would be drowned out, but no, she's heavily prevalent in the show. So just for one, all the characters are very intriguing and keep you hooked. Another thing, I just do like the plot of following this young superhero, figuring out he has powers and what he can do with that and how he wants to help the world. When done in a great way, it's still so great to see a superhero origin story. And then with the twist you have in here with Omni-Man, when you get to that moment, when, I guess, spoiler warning, Omni-Man slaughters the entire Guardians of the Globe for the most part. You're just sitting there like, okay, this is much more than I ever thought it would be. And it just gets darker and deeper from there. The action is really great in this. It's half considered anime, half not really, just animation. But either way, the action is there. This feels like a comic book. I mean, this is based off a comic book, by the way, should have said that. But you just have random villains come in and out, random heroes come in and out. Just all feels very comic booky. And like I said, the intrigue with some of these characters like Cecil, who is close with Omni-Man, as he's the guy who funds all the superheroes basically. And Cecil realizing how strong Mark could be and just trying to insert himself in their life. All the stuff with Samantha Wilkins and her parents. I honestly didn't think I would like that stuff, but hey, I found it intriguing. The last positive, the final battle is just insane, alright? Omni-Man versus Mark Invincible. Once again, like I said, the action is crazy, but during that final battle, you just see him get the shit beat out of him. And he looks messed up. You get tons of flashbacks, and the emotions in here all very much work. But okay, I've been glazing this show hella. So now moving on to the bad and just some of the negatives I had with the first season. I was talking about the animation. This season is probably the weakest, where at some points it just does not look very good. I do like the simplicity of it at times, but yeah, it just doesn't work at some moments in the show. But even that is like the basic complaint everybody has about the first season. Other than that, I'd just say sometimes it is a bit spread out, too many things happening at once, and that only does get worse for the upcoming seasons. But overall, that's like kind of all the negatives I have. A pretty great season of television to me. Just everything worked here for me. The emotions and depth I was actually surprised by. I'm a fan of superheroes. I like this classic origin story with that crazy twist, with all the Viltrumite stuff that only gets deeper in the other seasons. I give Invincible Season 1 a 9. Hey, I know a lot of people agree. So overall, just great foundation, great characters. Animation lacks at sometimes, but very comic booky. But okay, now let's move on to the second season of Invincible, where this time we follow Mark dealing with the aftermath of what all happened in the first season. After figuring out his Viltrumite dad's true mission of conquering planet Earth, he deals with what does that make him? And in another world, a threat is born out of a world where Omni-Man and Mark join together. In Angstrom, this multiversal villain, who with the help of the Mauler twins returning from the first season, morphs his multiverse selves into one to gain all the knowledge there is to know about Invincible to destroy him. We also follow the Guardians of the Globe once again, the return of Omni-Man on a different planet, and a baby brother. Okay, so there's just so much with Invincible Season 2. Starting off with the good. The opening. I really like this opening where we do follow what it would be like if Mark said yes at the end of Season 1 to joining Omni-Man and conquering Earth, where we have Omni-Man and Invincible going around killing everybody in a ruined Earth. Everything's abandoned, everybody's running, and we follow this particular guy who's just staring of a video of Mark saying, "Calm down, we're the heroes." And I was just watching this amazed, honestly. Did not expect for Season 2 to start like that, but it sets us up with our villain Angstrom. Another thing, I like the college setting this time. We follow Mark and Amber, his girlfriend, going to college. I do like the Amber character. I think she's sweet to him, and where they end up in the end of the season, I think it's sad. But all just great character development and relationship building. Honestly, reminding me of Spider-Man Omni-Man, which I was gonna say in the first season, but even more so here with just managing relationships and wanting to do other stuff in school, but having to always leave and hide your identity until you have to reveal it. All just stuff reminded me of one of my favorite superheroes. So the college setting I did really like. I guess talking more about Spider-Man, the finale, where we're going through all different dimensions, so we're making fun of the whole multiverse concept, and we see a parody version of Spider-Man and Doc Ock. So that all for the most part worked for me. I'll get to why it didn't in the negatives, but seeing that in the final battle was pretty cool. Another positive I have is Omni-Man returning with the introduction of Oliver. Now he doesn't have that name right away, but everything with these bugs in this new planet, honestly I didn't know how I was going to feel about it at first, but I do think it's a fine return for Omni-Man. But it brings us an interesting character, which I like at first, but I do have some problems with in the third season. But everything relating back to the conflict of Mark, not knowing if he should be okay with himself, knowing his dad's out there, just all great stuff worked for me. And once again, everything with the Guardians of the Globe is still fun. But alright, now moving on to the bad, some of the negatives I had with season 2, the main being the messiness. I didn't really mention the Mauler twins in season 1, but this time their plotline is kind of cut off in the middle of the season, which wouldn't be such a problem if they weren't the hands in making the big threat of the season, basically, who help Angstrom morph his multiverse selves together. Felt like we also didn't see Angstrom that much either as the main villain, until the end. I get what they were going for with the episode with Rick and Dr. Sinclair, but it did kind of just feel like filler in this grand story that kind of feels like we need to be focusing on this. I also don't like that Omni-Man kind of doesn't go anywhere after he gets in prison and he just stays like that for the next 2 seasons. I just wish we could do more with that intriguing character, but I guess I get why he's locked up. But overall, Invincible season 2 is still great. Another thing I didn't mention, Alan the Alien, I do like everything involving him. He's a funny character voiced by Seth Rogen. He's trying to get Omni-Man to help rebel against the Viltrumites because Omni-Man doesn't really like them either. This season is just a bit messy. Plotlines get cut off, but with the subject matter I thought it was very entertaining, and the show just keeps up with the unique concepts. But anyway, honestly, it is very close, but I do think I enjoy Invincible season 1 more. I'm going to give season 2 a 7. I don't know, ranking seasons is kind of hard, but I do think season 1 is a bit stronger when you look at it. But now moving on to the last season. Moving on to the final season as of now, Invincible season 3. This time we follow Mark and Cecil Stedman having a fallout over how to look at everything, how to run this organization, and with the secrets that Cecil has been keeping from Mark. We find out a lot of stuff in season 2, that the character of Donald is a robot that's been killed over 30 times, and they keep bringing him back. They keep bringing back Immortal. They bring back everybody that they need who has died. And Mark has a problem with that. Mark also has a problem with using the dead corpses of people as those bots that Dr. Sinclair did. And Cecil uses those to protect him from Mark himself. So Mark is very understandably feeling all mixed up about that. But honestly, I do feel Cecil's side as well. We get flashbacks and a look into Cecil's life, and we see why he runs it this way and why he is the way that he is, being so intrusive. He honestly really just wants to save the world. But along with that, we also follow Oliver growing up now and wanting to become a superhero, just like Mark. Debbie moving on from everything that happened in season 2, and just so much more, along with the Guardians of the Globe fallout. So without further ado, let's begin, starting off with the good. All the tension this season and the relationships and character development really works and is really the main focus of this season, with Mark Grayson Invincible and Cecil Stedman both holding their ground on what they think is right and what they should do, which causes a fraction in everything. The action this time around is really great. Being the most recent season, the animation just gets better and better. You just feel those explosions, and whenever someone gets a bone snapped, the gruesomeness of the show is just really expressed in season 3. With, I'll just get out of the way, the death of the Mauler twins. We get Oliver wanting to be a hero, trying to save Mark, going way too far, brutally killing the Mauler twins after they defeated the Guardians of the Globe. I thought that was really shocking, and yes, I will miss those characters, but it worked for me to just show the real threat that they have here, and why Cecil keeps coming back and checking in on Oliver and Debbie. Another positive, that finale with all the different versions of Invincible coming to the world and trying to destroy everything. Everything there was just awesome. All the designs really was just feeling like a comic book there. I mean, you realize the real threat. A bunch of Viltrumites just come on in. And then talking about the finale, the conquest fight, where the Viltrumites have just been so fed up that Earth has not been taken care of from Omni-Man or Mark. They send Conquest, and it's just a crazy final battle that ends gruesomely as well. Another positive, the relationship with Mark and Samantha, they were really the ones that were supposed to be together. So all that just obviously clicked perfectly. I like all the struggles of the Guardians of the Globe and following them and what they do after the fallout. And I don't know how to feel about the death of Rex at the end. Insanely impactful. Was one of my favorite characters, but it's not a negative, it's a positive, because that was a sacrifice and that was a crazy moment. My entire skeleton. Alright, but moving on to the bad, just some of the negatives I had with season 3. Okay, I think Cecil, and everybody kind of does, is in the right. He is really just trying to save the world, and Mark just keeps going against it, which gets gets annoying at a point, because when you're in the face of danger, Cecil's trying to teach you it doesn't matter what our relationship is, we have to join together right now, and he just keeps refusing. So that was a bit annoying. Oliver, the way he acts, I just feel like he needs to listen sometimes, alright? Yes, I get that's the point, but it just gets annoying as well to some point, especially when he's causing a bunch of crazy stuff to happen. I did like dealing with the Guardians of the Globe, but at some points it did just feel like they really didn't have anything to do, and when this season is so focused on Mark and Cecil, it drowns that out, and it makes every other character kind of just sitting there like, okay, well, what am I supposed to do? And then with the finale coming in, with just unstoppable force after unstoppable force, everything else kind of just feels unimportant then. I just still once again feel like the character development with Alan and Omni-Man is lacking, as we only find them breaking out towards the end and finally catching up to Mark. That's what we'll see in the start of season 4 probably. But overall, Invincible season 3 is still very strong. Like I said, the main aspects being the character relationships and the tension this time around, but with the negatives being just some of the character decisions and ways they act. It is interesting seeing the crumble of everything kinda. The action though, and that finale with all the different versions of Mark is just really great stuff once again, comparing to the finale of the first and second season. This one is very hard, I don't know. I think I'm going to give Invincible season 3 an 8. So we have 9, 7, 8, but that is honestly how I do feel about this season. But alright, let's move on to the end of this video. Alright, so there you have it. There's all 3 seasons of Invincible reviewed. Once again, I'm sorry that I didn't really go like that deep into all the specific plot lines and characters. I tried to remember and cover everything I could, and the scores might be a little more specific, like 7.5 or whatever, but just to simplify it, season 1 is a 9, season 2 is a 7, and season 3 is an 8. I do just think the first one is the strongest, and second one feels the most cliche and a bit messy. But nonetheless, I am really excited for season 4. I will be reviewing the premiere when it comes out, March 18th. I'm really hooked. I'm a fan of this now. Might have to go check out the comics. But let me know what you think of my review. What do you think of Invincible? Have you seen it? Are you a fan? Thank you for watching all the way through if you did. Check out the channel, subscribe. Also check out the TikTok and Instagram at Cine Channel. I'm Charlie. Have a Cine day.